The House comes to questions for oral answer question. Point of order, Chris Hipkins.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to draw your attention to raise an issue with you under Standing Order Speaker's Ruling 175/3 regarding operational matters and the ability of members of Parliament to lodge questions to ministers. This is an area where we've raised issues with you before, and in some cases you have intervened to require ministers to answer for operational matters. In relation to the new Education Council that has been established by an act of this Parliament, the Minister of Education has refused to answer any questions, including quite a wide range of questions that we have put to her, on the basis that the Education Council has been established as an independent body. However, the accountability back to the Parliament still rests with the Minister. And if the Minister says that they will not answer questions because the body is set up to be independent, the Parliament then has no way of holding the government to account or questioning relating to that body. So I'd ask that you give some consideration to that, because it seems to be in clear violation of the spirit of Speaker's Ruling 175/3, which states that although ministers may have no legal responsibility for something, they are still accountable to the House. And the final point that I would make is that there are many, many agencies and entities that would fall into this category if independence from government were to become a criteria that allowed ministers not to answer questions. For example, they could refuse to answer any questions relating to the police, for example, if that was to be the standard. And I'd ask that you give that some consideration.
Can I just clarify the members raising the question in regard to some written questions?
Yes.
Thank you. I will come back to the member. I'll give it some consideration, do some investigation, and I'll certainly at least come back to the member, maybe to the House if it's necessary. A point of order, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was advised just after 1:30 that question 3 to the Prime Minister had been transferred to the Minister of Revenue. This is the second time that Mr. Brownlee's office has failed to advise our office of a transferred question in time. Given the circumstances, I seek leave to have question 3 transferred back to the Prime Minister.
No, I'm not prepared to put the leave. Firstly, I was advised at 1:26 this afternoon, so I accept the point the member's making that any transfer, out of courtesy to all members of the House, the decision should be made and advised to us a lot earlier than it was. I understand on this occasion there may have been a slip-up in an office where the decision was made to transfer it, but certainly the advice was not given to me or clearly to the member early enough. But I want to just refer the member to Speaker's Ruling 169/3, which basically says the question can be transferred at any moment right up until the time that it's asked. It's the government's prerogative to determine whether to transfer the question. I've looked at the question. I have no doubt it can be answered satisfactorily by the Minister for Revenue. So on that basis, I'm not prepared to put the leave. Question? Oh, point of order? Point of order, the Honourable Chris Finlayson.
I'm the acting leader of the House and therefore a very low form of parliamentary life. I acknowledge what Mr Shaw has said. I'll raise it with the office of the Leader of the House, and I'll accept responsibility for it, even though I know nothing about any of the circumstances.
Very, very gracious of you, sir. Question